Okay. I have a lot of takeaways, but I'm not gonna take up all the time. But the two major things. One was the way this week came full circle with last week. Last week we talked about giving birth to everything that that the Lord has for us, and for us not to just keep it inside. And then today, we talked about not letting those things get aborted and not letting them be miscarried. And to me, it just brought everything full circle, and it was just a confirmation and a reinforcement that everything that the Lord has put in us, that He wants us to share it with the world. It's not for us to just keep it to ourselves and benefit, but for us to take it, share it with the world, and let it multiply, and for us to be blessings to others. And then the second one is that the diagram that you did with the doing what's right and how it also has to be the best thing at the same time. That was such a confirmation, because literally just this morning I had a conversation with my son Bashiri about that topic. Long story short, at work, it's first come, first serve. So the first person to get there gets the route of their choice. And the route that he wanted was actually somebody else's route. And he would get there first, and he would take this man's route every day. And I was telling him, I'm like, Bashiri, that's not right. Don't take his route, because now he has to get up earlier to try to beat you here. And it was becoming a race to the point where now we're all getting to work at 3 o'clock in the morning to get the route. I mean, literally, we don't have to be there till 4:30, but we're getting there at 3 o'clock to get the routes that we want. And I was explaining to him that, just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And that, when something that was for you, what God has for you is for you, and no one can take it away. And, he was like, well, Ma, the rule says whoever gets there first, first come, first serve. And I'm like, yeah, but just trust in the Lord that what He has for you is for you, and He'll make a way. And what ended up happening was this man had a circumstance where he had to transfer to another team. And, and I was telling Bashiri, I was like, you see what the Lord did? He removed, I'm not going to call him an obstacle, but He removed what you felt was in your way. And now, now the route, can be yours. But at the same time, He elevated this man, because He put this man in a better position, because he didn't do anything wrong. And I was, and I was telling him, I was like, so if you do the right thing, even though you can do it, doesn't always mean you should. But if you do it the right way, the Lord, He'll bless you, and He elevated the other man, and everything worked out well for everybody. But your illustration, that it was just confirmation. And it was like, yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. And it just shows that, when the Lord blesses you, He's not, whatever obstacle He removes from your way is not necessarily always an obstacle. Sometimes that person just needed to be moved into a better position. And if there's room for everybody, to benefit and be blessed, and it doesn't have to be to anybody's detriment.